Welcome to Game 3 of the Finals.
James gets it inside, banks it in, and a foul. Duncan across the lane, gets the roll. Tough shot from Duncan. James looking for an opening, drives to the basket, gets inside, count it, and a foul. Parker for three, it's good. Tony Parker with a huge shot. Pavlovich for three, bang. 5.5 remaining. James on the drive, fires a three. Off the mark, and that'll do it. The Spurs are now one win away from another championship.
Well, the Cavs find themselves in a situation they did not want to be in, down 3-0 to the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals, a deficit no NBA team has ever overcome. Our NBA analyst and NBA free agent, Jalen Rose, hanging out with us now to break things down. And the question of the day right now, Jalen, was LeBron fouled on that three-point attempt late?
Yes, LeBron was fouled on that three-point shot late, and to take it a step further, he was fouled in the act of shooting. Yes, he took one dribble, he pulled up for the shot, he was basically grabbed by Bruce Bowen. He got off the three-point attempt 27 feet away from the basket. I would have liked to see him maybe make that shot, get a 4-point play, but since that didn't happen, I would have really liked to see him have the opportunity, which he deserved, to go to the line for 3 free throws, especially being a star player at home.
Here's the NBA Finals, though. Referees got to swallow the whistle on that call, man. You don't make that call. You don't put it in the hands of an official. That's what I've always heard in the NBA Finals and in the NBA playoffs.
That's totally true. You never want the officials, the umpires, anyone to decide the game but the players on the floor. And I'm sure Bob Delaney, the official on the play, would tell you if he was sitting here right now. LeBron James was fouled. The rest missed the call.
Maybe they should have just let him take the shot uncontested because they couldn't hit shots anyway. 3 for 19 from Trey Land right there. Why were the Cleveland Cavaliers so ineffective shooting the ball from Trey Land and from anywhere on the floor last night?
Three-point shooting is about consistency and about how you get the shots. The Cleveland Cav three-point shooters are spot-up shooters. Danielle Marshall, Damon Jones, Boobie Gibson. Those are guys that get shots off three-point shots off penetration and kick. They weren't allowed to get that last night because LeBron James was kept out of the paint. Great job by the San Antonio Spurs.
LeBron James 0 for 5 himself in 3 land, 25 points overall. But how would you describe his game for what you saw last night?
He didn't get it done. We're basing it in the NBA Finals Game 3 coming home for the first time. Jim Brown's at the game. Greg Oden's at the game. The whole world's excited, anticipating Cleveland coming out and getting a victory in Game 3. It didn't get done. He did have 25 points in a 72-point effort, so he scored over a third of the team's points. So I would say he came to play.
Well, on the other side of the things, the Spurs were effective from three-point land. They didn't shoot well overall, but they were 10 for 19 from Trey Land. Bruce Bowen 4 for 5. Brent Barry was 3 for 4. Why were they able to get their trays down and Cleveland wasn't?
San Antonio Spurs rely on their big three to get other shots. Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, they set the table for other guys. And we talk so much about the big three getting it done, but they still have veteran role players to step up and knock down shots. You talk Brent Barry, you talk Bruce Bowen, you talk Michael Finley. Those guys have been there, done that, have a ton of NBA experience. That's why every champion you see in the NBA has veterans on his team.
They do it all. I mean, if you're the Cavs, Jalen, you're at home. First ever NBA Finals in Cleveland. You hold a big three of Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili to 34 total points, and you still lose. How demoralizing is that for that team?
It's very demoralizing, and you know what makes it demoralizing? The San Antonio Spurs are the best defensive team we have in our game, and they frustrate you on both ends of the court. So when they're not knocking down shots, like most teams, they go into a funk and may lose a game. Not the San Antonio Spurs. They punker down on defense. They play tougher. They play harder. They play more physical. They clean the backboard. And they win 70-point games. They win 100-point games.
They do it all. They did it against the Suns. They were able to run up and down against the Suns. In high-scoring games, they're able to slow it down and knock off the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're on the verge of winning their 4th title in 9 seasons. But when we talk about greatest dynasties of all times, we never hear about the San Antonio Spurs. We still hear about the Lakers that won 3 in a row. We heard about the Boston Celtics and of course, the LA Lakers of the early 80s and stuff like that, and Chicago Bulls. Why don't we hear the San Antonio Spurs when we talk about the greatest dynasties of all times?
When we talk about dynasties in NBA history, a lot of times those guys are remembered not only for what they did on the floor, talk of Magic Johnson, a Larry Bird, a Michael Jordan, and Isaiah Thomas. Those guys are just as remembered for what they've done off the floor, as well as what they brought to the game at the period of time when the game needed. The game needed Michael Jordan's flair when he came into the league. The league needed Magic Johnson and Larry Bird to come into the league and infuse some new blood into the league, and Magic Johnson smiled. So not that the San Antonio Spurs are a team without personality. They just didn't come in and change the game, but they're very effective. 4 championships, 9 years, constitutes a dynasty. Yes, they didn't win 2 in a row, but they are getting it done, and Tim Duncan is probably the best power forward of all time.
Absolutely, he doesn't have the personality. But Tony Parker can rap, and he's about to marry Eva Longoria. Doesn't that count for something?
Yeah, that's a pretty good juggling act, I'll tell you. He's getting married almost a month from now, getting his championship ring in the next couple of days. So how is it like to be Tony Parker?
And probably going to be the MVP of the NBA Finals.
I think Tony Parker's deserve it. His penetration is the key. You can't stop Tim Duncan. He's going to dominate on both ends of the court. Manu Ginobili didn't make a field goal yesterday. Tony Parker will get into that paint. He led the NBA in points in the paint. You can't stop this guy from getting into the basket. I think he's the MVP of this series. He's the guy that the Cleveland Cavaliers have absolutely no match for.
More impressive, the fact that he's engaged to Eva Longoria or his game right now.
His game. Because you know what? I hate to say rates, but at the end of the day, all marriages don't last. This championship will last. Those diamonds aren't going anywhere.
Well, let's hope Eva Longoria doesn't hear that because prenup. All right, 7 of the 11 teams to go 3-love have gone on a sweep. Will the Spurs make it 8 or 12?
I think so. I think the San Antonio Spurs will get it done in the next game. I think this will be a sweep. The fans of Cleveland will not be probably bringing brooms to the game, but I think it will be a sweep. The San Antonio Spurs are efficient, they're professional, and when they see an opponent down, they find a way to seize the moment.
All right, let's talk about some other sports real quick. Of course, everybody knows you're from Michigan, big Detroit Tigers fan. What did you think of your boy Justin Verlander last night, the no-hitter?
That was amazing. A Detroit Tiger having a no-hitter and throwing 102 miles an hour in the ninth inning. Not the first inning, the ninth inning. But what about all of the birds flying around? I need to get to Detroit. And that looks real exotic there in Detroit. I need to get there. But in all honesty, 1984 was the last time the Detroit Tigers won the World Series. They had a guy named Jack Morris throw a no-hitter in that season. Hopefully this is destiny for our home team.
All right, there's a homer. Hey, before we let you go, man, the big news of the day, of course, is Little E joining Hendrick Motorsports. He's going to be joining Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. That's a great trio. We've been talking about famous trios all day today. You were part of a great Fab Five yourself and a good trio with yourself, Chris Webber, and Juwan Howard. In your opinion, what's the best basketball trio of all time?
Well, it's a ton. I'm going to mention a few because I don't want to leave anyone out. Obviously, you got to talk Magic, Kareem, and Worthy. Obviously, you got to talk Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish. Obviously, you got to talk Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. And nowadays, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, getting it done. So for all you people that want to be on LeBron James' back, remember, these are Hall of Fame players we're talking about. You get it done with more than one guy. LeBron James did a great job getting his team to this point. But to be in the big three, the trios that we're describing, those are Hall of Fame.
All right, before I let you go, I'm not going to let you get off that easily. If you had to choose one of those 4 big threes, which one would you choose?
I'm taking the 6'9" point guard with the goatee from Michigan.
I knew you would.
Him and the other 14 guys. Whoever's out there with him, I'm taking Magic and those guys.
Sort of reminds you of somebody that you know, huh? 6'9".
A little skinny 6'8" kid that went to Michigan. He didn't go to Michigan State, but he went to Michigan.
All right, Jalen Rose, as always, man.
Respect.
Fine job, baby.
Thank you.
All right. All right, when we roll back, we talk about Little E a little bit more. We will hear extensively from Dale Earnhardt Jr. next. If you missed the news conference, you don't want to miss this. That's coming up.